Okay, now we're going to look at tables that have slope and y-intercept. So let's look at this table. I know that looking at this table, I can't just multiply off the top of my head something times 2 to get to 12, 3 times something to get to 17, 4 times something to get to 22. That's the same on all of them. The other video that we had looked at, video 2, they were all equal, okay? And in the next video, we'll talk about what's the difference between proportional and non-proportional, but we'll just look at how we can use our slope to find our y-intercept. So let's go and use the same thinking that we did on video 2, okay? Slope, and we'll use y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And those of you that prefer to use the table, it's going to be the exact same pattern. So I'm going to ask, how am I going to get from 12 to 17? Good, plus 5. Okay. How am I going to get from 2 to 3? Plus 1. Excellent. Now our slope is always written in what? Y over x, which would be rise over run, y over x. And what number do I have for my y? This is when we have to be very careful that we put y, which is 5, over our x, which is 1. Okay, this would give us our slope as 5 over 1, which could be simplified to just 5. But if I look back at the table, if I go from 2 times 5, well, I don't get 12. Okay, so let me clean up my area just a little bit so we can go from there. So, okay, so how can I use this table in my slope? Here we go. So let's plug in our x. Our x is going to be 2. So I'm going to go, let's see, I know so far I have y equals 5x and something. Either I'm subtracting or I'm adding. So I'm going to plug in my, wait a minute, clean that up. Okay. So I'm going to say, well, 5 times 2 is 10, right? So how am I going to go from 10 to 12? You said plus 2? Okay, let's see if that works for the next one, okay? Okay. So let's go 3 times 5. That's 15, right? How do I get from 15 to 17? Plus 2. All right, let's do it one more time just to make sure we're doing right. Okay, so 5 times 4 is 20. Good. And it's the same thing. Okay, so then our y-intercept is plus 2. So if our y-intercept is plus 2, let's talk about how that's going to change our equation, how I can plug that in. Okay, so let's get a brand new page. Okay, so I know my slope is 5. We know our y-intercept is 2. Okay, my formula is always written with y equals, this is slope-intercept form, and it's going to be, good, 5 times x, excellent, plus 2. Okay, let's try another one. Here's your next example. Pause the video, and I want you to find your slope, your y-intercept, and I want you to write me my equation in y-intercept form. Okay, so hopefully right now you have figured out how your slope is moving, your y over x, and whether you've used the formula or you're looking at how your table moves, because that's what that M is talking about, is how my line, how my slope is moving. It's the movement, okay? We're either going up, we're going down, or we're not going at all. In this case, my y is going up by 1s, okay? 4 plus 1, 5 plus 1 is 6. How is my x moving? 2, 4. Yeah, we're adding by 2s. So my slope is 1 over 2. Notice I wrote y over x. it is always, always, always going to be written in y over x. Rise over run. Okay? Rise over run. All right. Now let's see if we can find, whoops, eraser. Now let's see if we can find our y-intercept. So if I look at it, well, that doesn't make sense that I'm multiplying by 1/2 if I'm going from a 2 to a 4, does it? No, I tried to get one that might have tricked you a little bit to make you think. So what are we going to do? What are we going to think about with 1/2? Hopefully you're thinking of divide by 2, right? Yeah, that's what I'm hoping you're thinking. Okay, let's so we're going to look at this 2 right here and for x. We're going to say, well, what is half of 2? So I could say 2 times 1/2. Okay, which would, or I could say 2 divided by 2, and that's going to give me 1. Okay, well, if I have a 1 here, how do I go from a 1 to a 4? Good job. That's right. I'm going to be adding 3. Okay? So I'm going to put this right here, and I want to see if I'm going to be right for all of them. So let's see. Okay, let me get this area clean. Okay, so now I want half of 4. So 4 times 1/2 is 2. And then I want to go from 2 to a 5. Oh my gosh, that's plus 3 also. Good job. All right, let's do 6. So 6 times 1/2. What's half of 6? 3. Okay, and 3 plus 3 is 6. So we definitely have our slope is 1 over 2. Our y-intercept is 3. Now all we have left to do is plug it into our equation. Our equation should always start in y-intercept form with y. What is y? Y equals our slope, 1/2 times our x. Good, because we're going to multiply our slope by x, and then we are adding our 3. Good job, guys.